I think it's really important that we maintain high alert. I've obviously been here at the control room of the Met looking at what's essentially the nerve centre, but my message to the police and all of those that are charged with responding to disorder is maintain that high alert. I'm absolutely convinced that having the police officers in place these last few days in the right places, the swift justice that's being dispensed in our courts have had a real impact. But we have to stay on high alert going into this weekend because we absolutely have to make sure that our communities are safe and secure and feel safe and secure.
The start of the football season in England, is that going to make things harder or easier, do you think?
I think there are a lot of things in the mix this weekend. But, of course, whatever the challenge, we have to rise to it. And that's why I've had COBRA meetings. That's why I've been talking to the police today about their plans for the weekend. Yes, football is added into the mix. There are other things in the mix. But our focus has to be absolutely solely on the safety and security of our communities. And that's exactly where it is.
The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has said the online safety bill is not fit for purpose. What plans do you have to look at that again?
In relation to online and social media, the first thing I'd say is this is not a law-free zone. And I think that's clear from the prosecutions and sentencing. Today we're due sentencing for online behaviour. That's a reminder to everyone that whether you're directly involved or whether you're remotely involved, you're culpable and you will be put before the courts if you've broken the law. And so that's happening today, that sentencing. I do agree that we're going to have to look more broadly at social media after this disorder, but the focus at the moment has to be on dealing with the disorder and making sure that our communities are safe and secure.
Would it be helpful if people like Elon Musk were more mindful of who they let on their platforms, if he was more mindful of what he actually posts?
I think people should be mindful of the first priority, which is to ensure that our communities are safe and secure. The vast majority of the public are absolutely repulsed by what they've seen in this disorder. They don't want it, and they expect all of us, myself included, to do everything we possibly can to ensure that the disorder stops. And that's why the message to those that are thinking about getting involved in disorder of any sort is very clear. If you involve yourself in disorder, then the full force of the law will be applied. And the fact that we've seen this week people not just in court but being sentenced to significant terms of custody for their behaviour just a few days ago, I think is a very important message to anyone who's thinking of getting involved in the coming days.
You were Director of Public Prosecutions back in 2011 when we had those serious riots across the country. Do you see a difference this time, that they seem more targeted against certain minorities? And what would you say to people from those minorities who don't feel safe now?
I was involved in the response in 2011 to the riots as the Chief Prosecutor. The disorder we're seeing now is different in type, but there are some common threads, and what worked well in 2011 was swiftly dispensing justice, making it clear that if you involve yourself in disorder, then within days you'll be before the court, and if you're found guilty, you'll be starting a hefty sentence. That applies, as it did in 2011 now. Anybody involving themselves in this disorder can be expected to be brought before the courts, and we're already seeing the sentencing of those cases. This is only days after the disorder, and significant sentences are being handed out, and I think that is a very important part of the message to anybody who is thinking about getting involved in further disorder.